Hello and welcome back to the Fan Pub. I'm Sean, this is Al. We've got some news that's just breaking actually, or relatively just breaking, and it's about your team actually. I don't know if you've caught it, but it's the brilliant news about who they've signed to back up your man, Ezekiel Elliott. Do you want to tell us all about how you feel about Alfred,
the butler
Morris?
This is clearly a play against Zeke, isn't it? It's like
It's
a
brilliant.
power play
Yeah,
by,
it is. Yeah,
by Jerry Jones. He's such a... I won't say what I think he is in front of the camera, but...
It begins with Barr and ends in Steward, I think is what we would say over here in
he's
Great
taking
Britain.
advice from Donald Trump, obviously. But,
Well, it's hardball stuff, isn't it? I mean, and this is what's been coming now. We've heard this from both Melvin Gordon's team and now Ezekiel Elliott's team, in that they're all taking quite hard stances against the running backs, which is kind of inevitable.
It's battle of wits at this point.
And this is sad, actually, because now it becomes a question of what these players will do. Will they withdraw their services and say, okay, get on with it? And they can do that. Particularly in Melvin Gordon's case, he can only do that for about 10 weeks before.
But they can hold out until late in the season.
Yeah, they can 10 weeks in.
And that's a bit worrying thing fantasy-wise.
So I guess the question is now, this is like who blinks first, isn't it? What do you think will happen? So what's your instincts tell you? I've got my view on it. I think what will happen is that Ezekiel Elliott cannot afford to carry on with this now. This is a good move from Jerry Jones, but it's a short-term good move, because once these player contracts go to 2020, 2021, when they do all these new player negotiations, the running backs are going to be paid a lot more money. There's no doubt, because they're so undervalued at the moment in the current NFL, and that will be part of the negotiations, because it's a shorter career lifespan and they're woefully undervalued. And look at this move from Mr. Jones.
So Alfred Morris, the butler, averaged 5 yards per carry for Dallas.
5.1 yards per carry when he played at Dallas. Well, beyond that line, who wouldn't?
Where is his fantasy value? Is he worth picking up for a stash?
At this moment in time, it's a stash play, because we don't know what's going to happen with Ezekiel Elliott. It's absolute stash move, but it's a good stash move because how solid he is. He knows the team's playbook to a degree. I mean, it may well have changed, but it wouldn't have changed that much for the running back, I don't think. So we'll understand the nuances of how Dallas tend to operate.
He's played with Dak before, hasn't he?
So there's a lot to like about it from his start of view, and now you have to put him on your fantasy board, and you have to move him up accordingly, and that puts his value up reasonably. It's still a late round player, but
still,
if
he could play 8 or 10 weeks of the season,
well, that's awesome. Behind that line, it's fantastic. So suddenly, it's a late round steal for Alfred Morris, and that's horrible. I can't believe I'm saying that, but there you are. That's what happens.
You'd have thought you'd be saying that when you got up this morning.
No, I wouldn't.
Dream of it. Alfred Morris, go to snap him up late in drafts if you can.
I mean, it's worth a stash if you haven't already done so in Dynasty. But
don't go mad and buy.
It depends on how you view it. I'm not really one that runs to the waiver wire on a player like this yet, because
you actually do own him.
I know.
I looked to pick him up in a league and you had him.
I know.
I was very upset by it.
It's
very upsetting to.
But then I held on to him just in case that he got picked back up. It was more I had no better options. It was a late round thing to think about. Worked out right there, but I'm not rushing to waiver wire.
It's not happy time. Well, there you go. Basically, Alfred
not
Morris.
A lot to talk about. I don't think you're going to see until we
know
more.
The news is quite big. A bit only. If you're in a dynasty team in 25. There's surely someone you could drop and get Alfred Morris.
Well, you know what the worry is now? It's, of course, that Ezekiel Elliott has kind of made his bed. Now the question is, will he lie in it? And this is the issue. Will he decide to lock
the bargaining power? It's all the battle of wills between Jerry Jones and Zeke and his agent.
My hope is that Jerry Jones offers him a contract and says, look, this is the best I'm going to do. I'm going to give you this extra. That's it. If you don't take it, I'm running with Alfred. That's
what I mean. It's just a bargaining point, isn't it?
I think so.
To get a lesser deal.
I think so. I still believe Melvin Gordon and him will play. But until we see anything, as absolutely,
it is possible they hold out to week 10.
That's why they have moved. That is why they have moved down my draft board, because as much as we spoke about this in previous videos, please go back and look at those. As much as I totally see the value inside the first 8 picks, once you go outside of 8, and that I don't expect them to drop anywhere past that point. Sure, if they're there, you take them. Of course, it's worth the gamble, because if they play the whole season, you've got a star at a cheap price, of course. But there is a risk even in that strategy. But I'm not. I'm certainly not. I'm certainly not. If I'm high up picking, those are players I'm at the moment moving to one side. I've got to. Can't risk it. Can't risk it.
Okay, well, what do you think? I mean, is Alfred Morris worth a slight stash at least for a year or two?
It's got to be, hasn't it? I think you'd all agree worth a stash, and if you don't agree, maybe you prefer the rookie Tony Pollard or something like that you still think is maybe.
Is it Darius Jackson?
Darius Jackson, that might be worth.
A few people. I mean,
but it all becomes one of those classic and ah situations, isn't it? I mean, you pick one up and it's not the guy that plays, and how many do you take? All three of them? I mean,
Get Darren McFadden back as well. Why not?
Well, you
Yeah,
might
get
as
them
well.
all in.
Might as well get Trent Richardson on the card. Might go run to
Oh,
the
come
waiver
on.
wire.
Stop. You're just being ridiculous.
even he could run behind that line, possibly. Maybe not find the holes, but he could.
He might do the goal line. That was where he excelled.
Anyway, we digress because at the end of the day, that is a bit of shocking news, and it's a classic, as Al says. Jerry Jones' move to counter any kind of talk of big contract talks at this stage. So we'll see how this plays out, but you got to be a little bit more cautious now as you come up to your drafts about where you value these players, particularly if we have no news. And we've got a big live draft coming up in just a few days' time.
Yeah,
so
it's all this uncertainty is not good, is it?
Never good, but fun though to watch.
As well, so
fun to watch.
Every mistake
we'll also try and show a bit of that this year here, won't we, on this channel?
Yeah,
we're going to show some of that league teams that people have picked, things like that. Maybe even get some of those managers to come on and talk about their team and what they think of things. That'd be really great for you guys to see a live league in action. And how it drafted and what went on and what your thoughts are around those drafts. Because we certainly can't comment on our own drafts because we're always biased. I think it would be unfair us to comment on other people's, but coming from you guys, that's about as fair as it can be, I think.
Okay, if you've enjoyed the video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel for the plethora of stuff that's coming up, and thanks for watching.
See you next time.